Thanks, Sophie. You're watching South East Today. Our top story tonight. Devastated parents appeal for witnesses after their 7-year-old is killed in a hit and run.
Please help us find this person, please. Please, I'm begging you, please.
Come forward.
We have more from our reporter in Sandgate near Folkestone. An MP calls for an urgent response from Royal Mail over long delays to deliveries. The cost of Christmas, more than half of adults with children are worried about money this festive season.
There's been days where I can feed my daughter and I've had her leftovers or nothing at all.
And the winner is Northfleet Technology College.
And Green Goals, the Kent pupils awarded a prestigious prize at the COP28 summit for environmental work at their college. Hello, welcome to the programme. I'm Ellie Crisell. A 7-year-old boy crossing the road to collect his football has been killed in a hit and run in Sandgate near Folkestone. His parents today made a desperate appeal for help to find out what happened and who is responsible for their son's death. William Brown was struck yesterday evening. 2 vehicles were involved and one of them, a car or a van, left the scene before emergency services arrived. Victoria Bourne reports.
A mother's grief. William and Laura Brown's son, William Jr., died in a hit and run just yesterday evening. They invited us into the family home as they're desperate to get answers.
Somebody killed my son and left him in the middle of the road. It's a grey silver van. I think it was a man driving and he was heading through Sandgate to Hive. Please, if anyone can tell us anything, where that van is, where that man is, please tell us. Please, Sheriff, if someone with the police, please.
2 vehicles were involved in the crash along the Esplanade yesterday, but only one stopped.
At 5:35 last night, Wednesday the 6th of December, we lost our son, who was hit in a hit and run, trying to collect his football.
William's parents hope that by speaking out, either the driver will come forward or someone will be able to identify who was behind the wheel.
Please, Sheriff, please help us find this person, please. Please, I'm begging you, please.
Come forward. Come on, mate, come forward, man. Yourself up. Get there. And come forward. So we can put this to bed and put our son in the ground in a bit of peace.
We're urging the driver of the unidentified vehicle to contact police as a matter of urgency and do the right thing.
How much of a priority is this case for the force?
Specialists, detectives, specialists in crash investigation have been deployed and have been working tirelessly on this investigation. And as I said, we've deployed specially trained officers to support the family. This is the priority for Kent Police.
The community here in Sandgate is shocked. Throughout the day, people have been turning up to pay their respects.
Will was kind, funny, the sweetest little boy in the world. He's just the beautifulest boy. He was so soft and gentle.
They should have been getting ready to celebrate Christmas, but instead are having to come to terms with the loss of a much-loved son.
Well, Victoria is in Sandgate for us now. Victoria, what is the latest with the police investigation?
Well, so far no arrests have been made. Police say it's their absolute #1 priority to find the driver of that second vehicle who did not stop after yesterday's crash. They're calling for anyone who was here at around 5:35 p.m. yesterday and who may have taken photos or captured CCTV or dashcam footage to share that material so that they can progress their investigation.
Thank you. Last night, we reported on mounting anger from people across the southeast over long delays in receiving their post. Well, today, the Lewis MP Maria Caulfield has called for an urgent meeting with Royal Mail to address the issue. Many of you got in touch with us to share your stories, including one couple left waiting weeks for papers giving power of attorney. Royal Mail has already been fined more than £5.5 million for missing delivery targets. Peter Whittlesey has our update.
Angela Hayward is busy writing her Christmas cards, but this year she's planning to deliver as many as possible by hand. That's because she no longer trusts Royal Mail after it failed to deliver important legal paperwork on time after her husband was ill. It wasn't just once, but on 3 separate occasions. Even paying £25.95 for guaranteed next day delivery didn't get the lasting power of attorney documents to the destination on time.
I have found it very, very stressful. I've woken up in the night worrying about it. We needed to do something quickly because I was concerned. He's actually had 2 health scares this year. I mean, I can't be the only person in this position. There must be so many. What is going on?
That question is also being asked by many viewers. Fortunately, our email is working. Mark in Eastbourne said delays are common, with posts sometimes taking weeks to arrive. Chris in Worthing told us he's been waiting 2 weeks for a medical parcel, which he's now had to source from elsewhere. And another viewer contacted us to say her mother's vital health documents are often lost or delayed. Now, Sussex MP Maria Caulfield is demanding answers.
I got a commitment from the local management then that they would start to recruit some extra staff to try and help the existing postmen and women be able to deal with the sheer load of mail that they've got to deliver. But since then, absolutely nothing has happened. And I tried to escalate that then with national managers. And again, a wall of silence is what I've been faced with.
In a statement, Royal Mail says the vast majority of mail arrives on time. It doesn't think it's likely that addresses went several weeks without a delivery, and it's recruiting up to 16,000 seasonal workers to meet demand. But one postie who wants to remain anonymous says the company is in chaos.
Delays are not uncommon, especially this year. At the moment, we have a real shortage of staff. I haven't personally received any mail for the last 2 weeks, so I know issues are there. Tracked items and special delivery items have always been given priority over any other form of postage. Because they're attached to KPIs, the managers receive a bonus if they hit the targets every day.
Royal Mail's slogan used to be "Nothing gets through like a letter," but this Christmas many are wondering if there are enough staff to ensure their letters will get through. Peter Whittlesey, BBC South East Today, Broad Oak.
South East Water has revealed it's paid more than £2 million to shareholders while it's under investigation by the regulator. Ofwat is looking at its record of maintaining supply after households in Kent and Sussex were left with no water for days over the summer. The company said it was sorry for supply interruptions, but that the dividends were half of those paid the previous year. South East Coast Ambulance Service expects to receive more than double the usual number of emergency calls over Christmas and New Year. CCAM is predicting almost 100,000 999 calls this month. Trust managers say they expect to attend the most serious calls, but are also warning that less serious incidents might have to wait longer for an ambulance. Our health correspondent Mark Norman reports.
Ambulance service is the patient breathing. Thank you. And are they conscious and awake?
One of around 3,000 emergency calls taken every day at this CCAM call centre. But that number is expected to more than double over Christmas, putting huge pressure on the system.
Last year, winter pressures were very immense. We had at one stage over 100 999 calls waiting to be answered, and we couldn't get to them. And therefore people could die because of that. So we are trying very hard to answer the calls and to get people the help that they require and they need.
Can I confirm, is the patient conscious there?
Ambulance services across the country are struggling to cope with the demand. CCAM is no exception. They've employed a number of ways of trying to manage that demand, in particular looking at the non-life-threatening calls to see if they can be dealt with more appropriately.
we're calling back patients to see if we can help them or if there is an alternative pathway that we can direct them to in order to save the resources. If we're not able to do so, then absolutely we'll send an ambulance to them, and sometimes we may even upgrade the ambulance once speaking to them and getting that clinical information from them.
OK, what's the postcode?
The reality is, of course, there are far more calls than there are ambulances and paramedics.
It can be very stressful at times. From my point of view, I think if you are able to get to hospital under your own steam, then I would suggest to try and do that, because we can be having quite extensive delays in our service.
Ambulance service.
Just 13% of emergency calls to the ambulance service are for critically ill or injured people. CCAM now urgently looking for ways to ensure those patients get an ambulance quickly, while still coping with the huge rise in demand over this festive period.
Well, Mark joins me now. Hello, Mark. I understand the ambulance service is seeing a significant increase in calls, and we're still weeks away from the so-called peak winter season.
Yeah, it doesn't bode well, does it? And that increase in calls has already started. I was in the call centre, which you see behind me, for a few hours, and each operator only had to wait a few moments between ending one call and starting the next. CCAM say they expect 90,000 emergency calls in December. They expect to attend 40,000 of the most urgent calls for patients who are seriously ill or injured. But they are warning the public that less serious calls can expect to wait some time for an ambulance. NHS 111 is expected to be busy as well and could hit 8,000 calls a day over Christmas and New Year. And the big message from trust leaders is for us, the public, to only dial 999 in an emergency and to make use of alternatives, including using NHS 111 online, Ellie.
Mark, thank you very much. And on Wednesday next week, we will have a special day of coverage looking at how the NHS is preparing for this winter. Catch interviews, exclusive reports and analysis across our radio stations and online, on our social media, and of course here on South East Today. We also want to hear your experiences of the health service. Please do get in touch with us with your stories. South East Today at bbc.co.uk, or message us on social media. And it's not just the health service facing pressure this Christmas. It's proving tough for a lot of people who are struggling with the cost of living. The Financial Conduct Authorities carried out a survey which shows 40% of adults are concerned about being able to afford Christmas spending, and for those with children it's even more, 52%. And almost a third of those with young children have already gone into debt or are planning to take out loans to cover the extra costs of this time of year. Claudia Sabasis reports.
18 sleeps till Santa. Many enjoy the countdown, advent calendars and anticipation, but many are also feeling snowed under.
Christmas adds pressure on families to be able to provide gifts and extra things for their children, and the poor often can't do this, and especially this year.
And that's the problem. Prices rising, incomes, pensions falling in comparison. Many cannot keep up.
People are working very hard. The living wage doesn't reflect the price increases. There's a lady I know, she's having to work the whole of Christmas. She can't spend time with her family, she can't afford the presents. And I think a lot of people are feeling that pinch, not just her.
And it's small businesses too. Deborah Harris runs a wellbeing clinic and sees firsthand the stress people are under, as well as having to be creative to keep her business buoyant too.
We have noticed it's become quite evident that people are feeling the pinch, and I think what that means, so it's been tough, it's tough, but I think what that means is we've just got to try harder to get our message out there. So when we do things like, I'm doing a lot more networking through businesses like the Federation of Small Business, to be able to get together with other business owners that are in the same boat and try and work out solutions.
Jeremy Harris has a home restoration business.
As we all know, the climate's not been the greatest, with interest rates increasing. So people are cautious. I think it depends on the type of work that you're doing as well, as to where people place an importance as to what they want done. Fortunately for me at the minute, it seems to be okay.
With all the decorations going up everywhere and all the lights looking so festive, it's very easy to get carried away when people are out shopping. And also, there's that pressure to just throw a fantastic Christmas, so people spend more and then get themselves into debt. And the danger with that is it makes people vulnerable to scammers.
Fraudsters are well aware of this trend in consumer behaviour, and they're taking advantage of vulnerable consumers who are seeking out credit by looking to scam them.
So for some, Christmas can bring a lot of festive stress, which is anything but merry. Claudia Sabezis, BBC South East Today.
It's just after 6:45. This is our top story tonight. The parents of a 7-year-old boy killed in a hit and run in Sandgate have made a desperate appeal for witnesses to come forward. William Brown was struck last night crossing the road to collect his football. Also in tonight's programme. Prize pupils. Kent College students bag a prestigious climate award at COP28 for their environmental efforts in Northfleet.
And rain in Rainham and rain for the rest of us. But I got news of sunnier skies and a full weekend forecast later on in the programme.
An innovative trial is underway in the South East, providing free hot water using waste heat from computer processing. A Surrey firm is joining those companies which rely heavily on computers with households who are happy to have servers fitted next to their hot water tanks. Our environment correspondent Yvette Austin reports.
Shh, the bees are sleeping and they deserve some peace and quiet because they've had a busy year. Each hive produces between 20 to 40 kilos of honey, and it's school children.
Apologies, I think we played you the wrong report. Let's move on now to students doing their bit for the environment. Pupils from Northfleet Technology College have just arrived back in Kent after winning a £120,000 prize at the COP28 Climate Change Summit in Dubai. They have rewilded part of their campus and they're making a sustainable business from beekeeping. Leanne Rinney has been along to meet them.
Shh, the bees are sleeping and they deserve some peace and quiet because they've had a busy year. Each hive produces between 20 to 40 kilos of honey, and it's school children who make sure they thrive.
The whole project, what we've learnt with it altogether is the fact that if you have an idea and you actually put your mind to it, you can get so much more done. And also with bees, it's like you can see how important they are. The fact that without bees, a lot of plant life and animal life wouldn't be able to sustain itself because it's due to pollination that a lot of stuff is spread around.
It's just seeing, I say, the nature reserve just kind of evolve over time, seeing all this stuff because, as I said, now we've got bees, we've got trees, and it's something seeing your accomplishments like physically there.
The school has created its very own sustainable beehive business, transforming the wax and honey into products that can be sold, and the money is then used to develop the nature reserve.
Some companies, once they extract the honey, they throw away the wax, but we don't do that. As you can see by the candles, we use the wax, we turn them into candles, lip balms, all that. There's even some soap right there.
We have been making honey candles, and I feel like it's really exciting because we get to do all of these things, and it's fun.
And the winner is Northfleet Technology College.
The pupils' hard work has just been internationally recognised at a summit in Dubai. They won a £118,000 prize for climate innovation.
The future would look very much like there's a whole community involved. There's not just our school, there's our primary schools around us. To give you an example, we've had contact from schools in the north of England who are very excited to potentially become part of our much wider community now, to learn how to set up their own nature reserves on their own grounds. And if we all start doing that, we'll put things right soon enough.
The school is now determined to spread their beehive business model far and wide and create a real buzz around sustainability for generations to come. Leanne Rinney, BBC South East Today, Northfleet.
Now let's try again to bring you Yvette Austin's report and a reminder of what that's about. It's about an innovative trial underway in the southeast providing free hot water using waste heat from computer processing, because a Surrey firm is joining those companies which rely heavily on computers with households who are happy to have servers fitted next to their hot water tanks. Our environment correspondent Yvette Austin now reports.
The attic of this house in Hawley, something very unusual is happening. Free hot water thanks to the internet. This box is a powerful computer server, and when it's working hard, it produces a lot of heat. Normally that would go to waste, but not here.
We've generated about just shy of 10.5 tonnes of hot water, which is about 90 days of average household use of hot water, and about 226 showers. But at the moment, it's running in a trial. So what they've said is it's running at about 50% of a home's use of hot water.
It's fancy architectural animation work like this that needs a vast amount of processing power. So what the company has done is enlist the services of a new firm called Heater, who's linked them up with computer servers in homes like Earfans.
So all the information gets packaged up from this end and it gets sent via our Wi-Fi through the magical internet and then down through the Wi-Fi in the host's home, which then arrives at the machine on their hot water tank, and this is spread across, because these take so long and animations can take, if it was on one machine it could take 100 days to render the animation, but of course spreading it across 100 machines it would take 1 day. So it gets spread across all these machines in different houses and all heating their hot water up for free.
Around 80 homes and 10 animation businesses are currently involved in the trial, which is gradually expanding to 100 homes. Ultimately, it's thought the potential could be huge.
With the massive increase in demand for processing, and AI is going to increase that hugely over the coming years. It could support a huge amount of heat in society. I don't know the exact numbers, but at the moment, the distribution of these computers couldn't support all the workloads that are going on in the data centres. But as connectivity improves, they can start to do more and more.
It's also greener for the households as they're burning less gas.
Having 2 young kids, I think about solar panels and trying to be more green and stuff. And this is a great way to use wasted heat energy that would essentially be in a warehouse with cloud computing, is now in your airing cupboard or your attic, and all that heat is going into your hot water.
Any extra electricity that Earfans' server setup uses is paid for by Heater, so he says for him and his young family it's a win-win situation. Yvette Austin, BBC South East Today, Hawley.
Now, it's 20 years since Sylvia Holder officially retired, but from her home in Hove, she is still hard at work. She's founded a charity building schools and supporting education in a village in India. And a day after she celebrated her 85th birthday, Ian Palmer went to meet her and find out more.
The woman who improved the lives of thousands of children.
What do you think when you're looking at some of these messages written by?
I feel I'm going to cry.
Inside the book are thank you messages from young people who attend the school she founded in India.
I like to learn lots of things and stories. My favourite game is football.
The story begins in 1989 when Sylvia met 12-year-old Venkat during a business trip to India. The pair began talking on the beach.
I said, would you like to see my village? Well, you bet I would like to see his village, to get really off the beaten track and to see a proper Indian village where there are no tourists. And so we went around the village, which was pretty shocking. I mean, I was very shaken by it, if the truth were known.
Sylvia decided to sponsor Venkat's education. He graduated from university, but aged 27, he was killed in a road accident. Heartbroken, Sylvia went back to Venkat's village of Kovalam near Chennai and asked what she could do in Venkat's memory.
JR is the brother Janaki Raman, we call him JR. And he showed me the primary school, and that was enough. It was in a terrible state. It was virtually derelict.
Sylvia set up the Venkat Trust in 2004. With the help of her trustee, she rebuilt the primary school and built a secondary school. Today, they teach 850 children.
Sylvia's always onto a new project. She's not content with one school. They're going to have another one. And then there are kids who can do this.
The former PR business owner works every day for the charity. Yesterday, she celebrated her 85th birthday.
Their life was going to be the same as their parents and their parents' parents, which was a menial income for sweeping the streets and no chance of getting out of the poverty trap. I mean, education is the way out.
In 2019, Sylvia was awarded a British Empire Medal for services to education in Kovalam. For now, the work continues. She plans to visit her schools next month. Ian Palmer, BBC South East Today, Hove.
Time now for a look at the weather forecast. John Hammond is with us. We're going to get a break in the rain.
Do you know what? I thought you were going to say, are we going to get a white Christmas? Because it started every single day. Is it going to be a white Christmas? Is it going to be a white Christmas? It's too early, folks, including Ellie. Let's just enjoy whatever December throws at us. And it threw some nice scenes, actually, earlier on today. It's that lovely shot here, looking up through the trees, taken by Liam. But the wind's been getting up, the trees have been swaying, and the waves are getting bigger as well. That's indicative of a pretty disturbed outlook, it has to be said. We're all going to see some rain over the next few days. That said, tomorrow's looking quite cheerful, bright and breezy. There will be some rain and shine through this weekend. As I mentioned, often quite blustery. The jet stream is sending in waves of wet weather from the Atlantic. If it's snowier after, the jet stream's got to be supplying winds from the north or the east. That's not going to happen in the near future, at any rate. And here comes one of those waves of wet weather. It was dry earlier on, but just about all of us are pretty soggy out there at the moment. That rain continuing for a few more hours to come. It will clear through by midnight, and then the early hours should be quieter and drier. The wind's dying down a touch as well. Chilly, but not cold enough for frost. I think temperatures staying well above freezing. Bit of a breeze. That'll be a feature of the weather as we go through tomorrow. But tomorrow, in comparison with today, will be much brighter, lots of blue sky and sunshine, a cheerful sort of day. As I mentioned, a few showers, particularly down towards the coast, but most of us will escape these. 10 or 11 degrees. We haven't seen double figures for a while. Get out and enjoy it if you can. Now, as we head into the weekend, another splash of rain. It's going to be a wet old start to Saturday, but that pushes through and the skies brighten again with some nice sunshine through the afternoon. Temperatures even higher, potentially 12 or 13 degrees. We keep that churn of westerly winds for the next several days with further bands of showery rain, all the while quite mild. It stays that way through the early part of next week. Then hints though, Ellie, as we go towards the end of next week, it starts to turn chillier. Signs of things to come, perhaps?
Is it going to be a white Christmas, John?
Oh, for goodness. I'm leaving.
You knew I was going to start asking you. Thank you very much. That's it. I'm back with your late news at 10:30. Bye-bye.